This is a conversation with Scott Gelber, one of my clients at Lever Growth. We're talking about the results that he's gotten after working together for 3 months. If you want my personal help to grow your business and implement the same strategies that Scott used to help achieve results, then book a call in the description below at levergrowth.io. Now let's dive into it.
We've closed 3 deals so far, and I think that's in roughly 3 months of us working together. So just from the cold email, I think it's been, what's that, like 135K
Yep.
most likely we're expecting, which is like a great ROI on what we've seen so far. You've helped us with a lot more than just cold email. I feel like you've been almost like a business consultant to us, helping us think through things in the sales process, helping us think through our YouTube strategy. The offers was a great example, right? So we're getting a lot out of this beyond just meetings from cold email. We're getting like a lot of advice and thoughts on how to just improve our business. And that's been like super awesome to have.
Hey guys, we've got Scott here with us today. Scott's been growing his Google Ads agency and working with Lever Growth in our outbound systems. Hey Scott, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Before we really get started, could you just give our viewers a quick intro about yourself and your business for those who might not know you?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Scott Gelber. I'm the founder of SRG Marketing. We're a Google Ads agency. We primarily work with B2B companies to help them drive more qualified sales meetings through Google Ads. We'll work with any B2B company, but we have a pretty special focus on B2B SaaS. So we've been doing this now for roughly 2.5 years.
Good stuff. So, Scott, obviously you mentioned you're working with B2B SaaS as one of your core ideal customer profiles. What challenges were you facing in attracting them or acquiring those types of customers before starting to work with us?
Yeah, so I think in general, the B2B SaaS space is a very sought after space. I think everyone wants to work with these fast growing funded startups. So it's extremely competitive. There's a ton of us in the space. A lot of times you're talking to companies that are already using an agency. And these companies in general are just getting bombarded by so many people via outreach. So it's not just agencies, it's software companies and everything in between. So being able to stand out is tough, and being able to generate consistent pipeline is tough with this audience. So it takes a little bit more of an approach than just like blasting everybody. Right? They're looking for you to be targeted, relevant, stand out, creative with your outreach. So that's probably the first challenge, is just the industry in general. I'd say the second challenge from a company perspective is we were doing cold email. We were getting solid results, like booking some meetings every month, closed a few deals, but the volume wasn't there and it was inconsistent due to my bandwidth. So some months would be good, but then, things would pick up from a fulfillment side or the sales side. And then all of a sudden I haven't launched a new campaign in weeks. And then before you know it, we're behind the ball. And just in general, like some strategies that worked early on stopped working. So we kind of were like capped at like 2 to 3 meetings a month, and we couldn't really find ways to go beyond that. So those were kind of like the main things we were struggling with.
Okay. Yeah, that's, good to hear that, you're having some success, but, you brought us on because you're looking to get more consistency with that outbound motion. So could you share a little bit more about, the quality of the calls and how those have been going since we started working together?
Yeah, so I think that'd be one of the things I would highlight is the quality of calls we're having since working with you. Um, every meeting we've gotten has one fit our firmographic profile. So any lead that has for some reason not been qualified, it's always been something random that like we never could have saw. But every lead coming to us, even the conversation, like regardless of that, is very good. They're a funded startup. They meet our funded criteria. They're a big thing for us is they're using HubSpot. All of them are using HubSpot. They have a marketing leader in place, so they're all like really good leads. And I think what's been nice is, truthfully, we haven't gotten like tens of hundreds of leads, which is fine, but every single one has been a good one. So the time I am spending on these leads has been well worth it, and the close rate has been super high on it. So for me, that's good, right? It's like we're focusing on the quality of leads. We're getting the right people to talk to, and we're spending the time with the people who are going to become really good customers.
Sure. So, obviously the quality of the leads, having not just conversations, but conversations with decision makers who are in a buying cycle is very important because you mentioned
Exactly.
it, right? They need to actually close. So could you share a little bit more about how those sales processes are going, how many deals you've closed? Just share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we've closed 3 deals so far, and I think it's in roughly 3 months of us working together. So to me, that's like awesome. I think the leads we're also getting in front of, to your point, they're ready to take action, which is awesome. They fit firmographically, and then we're always talking to a decision maker. So we're talking to the person who can make the decision on the dot. So in terms of the close rate, I think it's pretty high. I mean, I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's got to be over 25%, which is like that's awesome, right? Like I know now if we're gonna get a minimum 3 to 4 meetings, like we're gonna close one of those. And the time to close has been pretty good too. I think tops 3 weeks. One of the leads you sourced us, we actually closed in 7 days, which is that's not normal, but it just speaks to like the people we're getting in front of and the opportunity that's being presented to us.
Yeah, right place, right time. With any sort of outbound, you got to mix and blend the timing along with the targeting, and so obviously that's married together to materialize and actually close deals. So I'm pumped to see that we're already getting success there. Could you share a little bit about your experience in terms of offer creation and go-to-market strategy that we've worked together on?
Yeah, I think one of the big things you recommended to me that has made a big difference very quickly is thinking about like intro offers for our product. So originally we had one offer. It was a retainer service. It was a commitment for 90 days. It's a big commitment, right? And it actually, in hindsight, it doesn't surprise me that we lost some deals due to that. So one of your recommendations right away was like, let's think of some intro offer, like a setup offer. And that's already like paid in dividends. We've gotten 2 or 3 of those already. And we're making it so much easier for people to start working with us. So, I mean, that's something that not only has worked right away, but now it's something we have in our arsenal that like I think is going to drastically improve the overall close rate. And what we're seeing is once we get people into those setups, it's assuming we do a good job, like they're they're it's they're converting to retainers really quickly. And we're just seeing like very quickly, it's like, okay, like we're in, like they don't want to spend time to find someone else. Like it's ours to lose. So it's just been such a great strategy and a change in our approach that is making it easier for our customers to buy. And once they're in, it's like a completely different dynamic. So yeah, just helping us think through all the mechanics of that setup offer was huge. That was huge for us.
Sure. And if you're comfortable sharing, from the deals that we've closed, from the intro offers that we've crafted and ended up closing as well, do you have an idea of the expected revenue that is going to be generated from those clients that we brought you?
Our average retainer is 5,000 a month. Typically, clients are staying with us roughly 9 months. We've closed 2 retainers from directly from you. So what's that, like 90,000 right there? Assuming that all goes correct, which I think it will. One of them closed into a setup offer, which I think is going to convert. So I'd say that's like another 45K right there. So just from the cold email, I think it's been, what's that, like 135K
Yep.
most likely we're expecting, which is like a great ROI on what we've seen so far. And then we had 2 additional setup offers that weren't sourced by you, but obviously was like helping us think through that. And one of those has turned into another retainer, so that's like another, right, like 40K there too. So yeah, a lot of revenue very quickly, which is obviously great to see.
Yep. Great. So in terms of, we talked uh, actual results, we talked actual like offer creation. and we're working together very closely, Scott. So I'm just curious if you could share a little bit more about your experience and just um, some of the other benefits of working together.
Yeah, I think there's two things I want to highlight. One is just like your you and your team's ability to problem solve and be like strategic. I think there's a lot of agencies out there that kind of just like have their standard playbook and they just like run it for you. And if it's not working for your situation, it's like tough. That's tough because that's what they do and they're not going to think. And I think what I've seen from you and your team, which has been awesome, is like a lot of strategic thinking and a lot of like problem solving. So an example is, we tried testing a like Loom audit as the offer in our cold email, and we started getting a lot of success with people responding to that, but then not converting. Um, and my initial thought was like, okay, maybe it doesn't work. But you were like, no, let's look at this and really like diagnose what was going on and suggest some other
Mhm.
things. And before you knew it, a month later, we're like now booking pretty consistently through that audit by just being thinking about like how we can improve it. Um, so to me, that's been like an awesome part of it because it gives me confidence that, I know that most likely everything's not going to be smooth sailing every month, right? We're going to have down months, things are going to like go wrong, but your team has like demonstrated to me that you guys can think and adapt, and that's really like comforting to me. So that's the first thing I'd say that's been awesome. The second thing I'd say is, yes, we're doing cold email with you guys, but you've helped us with a lot more than just cold email. I feel like you've been almost like a business consultant to us, helping us think through things in the sales process, helping us think through our YouTube strategy. The offers was a great example, right? Um, so we're getting a lot out of this beyond just meetings from cold email. We're getting like a lot of advice and thoughts on how to just improve our business, and that's been like super awesome to have.
Great. I'm glad you're enjoying the experience so far. So, what would you say to someone who's considering working with us or considering, doing outbound and working with the Lever Growth team? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say when it comes to doing outbound email, I think it's definitely worth testing. I think people have a stigma that it doesn't work, but if you work with the right partner, and I don't think anyone can do it. I think you got to work with the right partner who understands how to set up the deliverability infrastructure and has a really good approach from a copywriting perspective, which I would say you guys have. Um, it can definitely work, and then it can be an amazing, consistent channel for you. That's really cost effective. Much more, probably one of the most cost effective channels that I can think of. So giving it a shot. Also, like the risk is low because again, it's not that expensive. Um, so being willing to like problem solve, figure it out, and unlock it, I think is just such a big value add for a business. So I would definitely say you got to try it at least. And in terms of if someone was on the fence working with you guys, I would say, well, first of all, I'd say like you should work with you guys. But the second thing I'd say is kind of along what I talked about before, which is like the problem solving capability. There's a lot of people right in this space who just like regurgitate what everyone else is saying. Have a good offer, like use email warm up. Um, and it's easy for someone to come in and not really understand your business and take the time to understand your business and fail. I've done it before. And I'd say the thing again that I think separated you guys is you've actually taken a lot of time to learn our business. You've taken a lot of time to like you've listened to like our sales calls, you've like extract messaging. Um, you've thought very creatively around tests, even if they don't work. And I think that's what you need to succeed in cold email these days. So if someone, tells you, hey, we're gonna just like get 5,000 leads and blast them, I wouldn't go with them. But the approach that you guys take, I think, is the right approach. So that's what I would share with someone who's on the fence.
Awesome. Good thoughts. Last question, Scott. So, we've added, 135 directly, another, you know, 50K or so, you said, in setups. Um, I'm curious, what's the goal from here? Like, where do you go from here? What's in store for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think what I've realized is like this cold email channel works, right? It just works. Like we consistently get meetings now. We consistently close. So I think the next step for us is continue to do what we're doing, obviously, right? Like let's keep doing what's working, but then expand on it. And the way I see us expanding is adding more channels to the people we're reaching out to. So something, we've been talking a lot about recently is like starting to implement cold calling. And again, I know that's not your core service, but it's something you've been helping me with in terms of like scripting and thinking through the workflows, how to get the data. So that's probably the next big thing because what we're doing is working. Theoretically, calling the same people cold and having a good offer should work as well. So I really just want to, I don't want to like have too much of shiny object syndrome. I want to keep doing what is already working and just like expand on things that are very in line with that.
Hmm. More, better, new. That's what the name of the game is.
Yeah.
Um, Good stuff, man. Thanks for the time. I'm looking forward to keeping crushing it with you, and I'll chat with you soon. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks.